Hello, my name is Major Mike Webb. I completed 2 decades in the military, focused on the specialty areas of force projection and force protection, with prominent assignments in special operations, strategic counterintelligence, and training. This briefing is unclassified. Today, Joe Biden announced that even with his plan, it may take months to reverse the progress of a novel coronavirus. Joe Biden believes that vaccinations will provide the solution, and today even the illustrious Anthony Fauci began promoting the idea of wearing double masks, as scientists who claimed to be baffled by a single strand of RNA continue to keep ahead of, or try to keep ahead of, a constantly mutating virus that continues to confound the experts, or so it appears by reports in the press. Yet one of the early theories regarding a novel coronavirus, now approaching a claim of over 500,000 American fatalities, focused on the virology term and concept of zoonotic evolution. And that Darwinian theory rests upon the concept of natural selection, according to Charles Darwin in The Origin of Species, first published in 1859, addressing the very topic of mutations like that exhibited by a novel coronavirus that now, according to all reports, has a more infectious but not more virulent strain. He was convinced that natural selection has been the main but not exclusive means of modification. And according to Darwin, when under nature the conditions of life do change, variations and reversions of character probably do occur, but natural selection, as will hereafter be explained, will determine how far the new characters thus arising shall be preserved. The strong survive, the weak perish, which he credited to the geometrical powers of increase, or essentially a law of large numbers for biology and preservation of species. And over time, Darwin believed that natural selection even overwhelmed man's capacity for reason. I spent over 2 decades in the military, and I began my military career training on Sand Hill at Fort Benning, Georgia, with the infantry. By popular conceptions, those who enlist in the military have no other options in life. And my academic metrics, those who enlist in the infantry are indeed accepted with the lowest scores. However, contrary to that popular theory or notion of natural selection, over 75% of age-eligible Americans are not even qualified to begin that course of instruction that is the least academically qualified member of the military, validating the Darwinian position that the geometric powers of increase in the military had exceeded our powers of reason collectively, when it assumed that an infantryman is less capable of intellectual thought than a civilian who was not even qualified to even begin that choice of profession. Are we clear? But because soldiers in the infantry are at the lowest academic potential in the military, instruction on basic soldiering common tasks is often taught at the most rudimentary level, Sesame Street simple, so that a 5-year-old could understand, giving rise to phrases like stay alert to stay alive, or the general Darwinian thought that there are only 2 types of soldiers on the battlefield, the quick and the dead. Don't be the other guy. Are we clear? If a novel coronavirus is readily adapting to its environment quicker than you are at a unique battlefield disadvantage vis-a-vis that novel coronavirus. And over time, science dictates that it shall inevitably prevail in bringing your demise. That is natural selection. In the zoonotic evolution theory, some scientists claim that a novel coronavirus that began in a bat species found a sufficient number of mutations to be capable to jump species and attack a human host and flourish, using the protein spikes on its signature crowns. Coronaviruses, by science, are the largest family of viruses, providing them a wide range of opportunities to produce advantageous mutations, and they are the largest in size, which tends to make them less stable, giving rise to the maximum opportunity to create new mutations which might be more successful in preserving its species against you, and in natural selection if it is progressing in its capabilities to defeat you more rapidly than you are at preventing that harm. Science dictates that it shall inevitably prevail in bringing about your demise. That is natural selection. Are we clear? For centuries, modern science failed to evolve against the disease, failing to recognize what is now called a germ theory of infection, and rather theorizing about general causes and syndromes in nature, avoiding the specific threats in the human environment. Such failures led to medical solutions by doctors, such as bloodletting and leeches, and even to failures in battlefield medicine during the Civil War, especially, most vividly illustrated in the death of Stonewall Jackson during the Battle of Chancellorsville in the Wilderness Campaign. While many factors of confusion did indeed lead to Jackson's wounding by friendly fire from his own men, the wound that he sustained was not fatal, striking only his hand and upper arm, and he succumbed to those minor combat injuries 8 days later because doctors in that day did not recognize that infection from contaminants introduced to his body with that bullet, even after amputation, failed to address the actual cause of his diseased, deteriorating condition. And it is for this reason in infectious disease control the focus of epidemiologists is not upon general statistics such as numbers of infections, hospitalizations, or even fatalities, but rather upon the exact infectious dose and attack rate that drives the spread of the disease, so that they can then arrest and control that element to resolve a public health crisis. And these things, a year into a pandemic crisis, have not yet been done. Infectious disease control expert should know. But if this is the case, as all of the scientific evidence suggests, there is no non-medical grade mask nor vaccine that can protect anyone, and that the only reasonable method to prevent infection and infection spread is to prevent the person or persons who have targeted the particular venue for what essentially amounts to an act of terror, according to the science. All facts that the leading infectious disease control expert should know better than anyone. This briefing has been unclassified. That concludes this briefing. My name is Major Mike Webb, and by God, I am running for governor of Virginia. I ask every Christian, every conservative, every Republican, every Virginian, and every American true to, like the motto of the infantry, follow me, and we shall overcome. Honest. And y'all come back now. Here. This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.